since these were revised only in January this year, I do not intend to pass on the additional burden to them now.
Sweet talk on passenger fares. Apparently no hike, but get ready for fare hike from backdoor. Hiked Tatkal and various surcharges will dig a hole in your pocket.
बजट मानता हूं सरकार ने रेलवे को यहां लाकर खड़ा कर दिया है जब ये हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था का एक बीमार अंग बन गया।
गोल गोल बातें हुई हैं। मेरा ख्याल है कि ये बजट जिस तरह से पेश किया गया उसको पढ़ने की आवश्यकता ही नहीं थी। लेट ऑन द टेबल कर देते वो काफी था।
लोगों के आंख में धूल झोंको, जो परियोजनाएं मंजूर नहीं है उसका ऐलान करो। तो इस तरह से ये निराश करने वाला बजट है, इसमें कुछ खास नहीं है।
The opposition is hardly impressed by the UPA rail budget, terms it a Raebareli budget, ignoring the NDA ruled states. The railway minister hints at fuel surcharges affecting the freight charges. 5% hike proposed. Industrial bodies slam Pawan Bansal's PPP model.
सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं। मेरी कोशिश है कि ये सूरत बदलनी चाहिए।
And it was not just about the fare and freight. Railway Minister Pawan Bansal showered some couplets as well, only to win applause from the members. Very good evening. You're watching NewsX. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and our focus today is obviously the rail budget as well as the union budget, where we in fact dissected every facet that makes a difference to you. But let's also take a look at the other headlines. On the day Pawan Bansal presents his maiden budget, 2 children are run over by a goods train at Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh. The resultant mob violence kills 2 railway employees. Railway Minister Pawan Bansal disappoints Dalal Street. Sensex nosedives more than 300 points. All railway shares close in deep red. More than 10,000 phones and emails have been tapped in the month of December 2012 alone. NewsX has now exclusive access to documents stating that tapping was ordered by Home Ministry. In a sharp contrast to US views on India's role in Afghanistan, President Barack Obama's Defense Secretary nominee Chuck Hagel has alleged that India had financed problems for Pakistan in Afghanistan. India draws the first blood, defeats Australia in the first test match at Chennai in 4 test series. Double whammy for skipper MS Dhoni as he bags the man of the match award as well. And finally, the Sports Ministry to fund the Indian hockey team for the Sultan Azlan Shah tournament in Malaysia. 5-time champions India were previously forced to withdraw, citing lack of funds. The top story that we are tracking, there have been too many cases where tapped phone conversations of politicians and businessmen are leaked, creating a sensation throughout the country. Now, NewsX has exclusive access to documents stating that the Home Ministry ordered a tap on more than 10,000 phones and emails in the month of December 2012 alone. Now, the UPA regime is quite okay with the status quo, as per its statement at the Supreme Court appointed review committee meeting on 4th of February. But what is surprising is that the government needs to tap phone calls and emails of nearly 10,000 people per month. Now, some of them are even identified as unknown. Now, out of these 10,000 phone taps ordered, only about 1,100 are overseas phones. Now, 5,080 were fresh taps ordered in December and 4,191 were continuation of old tap orders. Only 531 phone taps were done under emergency orders. In fact, if you look at these numbers, maximum phone tap orders were at the behest of the Intelligence Bureau, followed by Andhra Pradesh Police and then Delhi police. Now, it can be argued that tapping phone conversations is crucial for national security, but the process can just as easily be misused as well. So the big questions emerging are, and this is what we are asking today at NewsX, whether enough manpower is deployed to study these intercepts. Also, are there enough safeguards in place to ensure that the system is not abused? Also, is this not a breach of privacy for individuals? We are of course talking about freedom of speech in our country, freedom of rights in the country. So these are the important questions. But what is surprising is that the government needs to tap phone calls and emails of so many people in the country, about 10,000 people per month. Now that is a huge number. With such huge numbers of tapping being ordered by Home Ministry, it is anyone's guess as to how many of these tappings are genuine. Alright, let's get the details from my colleague Deepak Bajpai. Deepak, these are interesting revelations coming in. These are big numbers. Let's face it. These are big numbers that we are talking about. We are talking about 10,000 phones and emails in the month of December 2012 alone. The question remains: how many of these actually tappings are genuine?
Well, of course, that's a shocking number. 10,000 phones in a month's time. You know, it's a shocking number. One thinks whether my phone is being tapped or not. But you see, the one background, one justification that is given by all the security agencies, intelligence agencies is that these phones need to be intercepted because of security, national security. You know, if that's the amount of threat, if that's the magnitude of threat, one can imagine how vulnerable we are as a country when it comes to tackling terror. Because if the government is tapping 10,000 telephones a month, that means you know, we are vulnerable. So many terror activities are going on that you know, the government needs to tap 10,000 telephones. That means just imagine the number of modules working, you know, who are trying to, you know, carry out terror attacks. And many of these intercepts have been done by the DRI, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. That means money laundering happens to be another aspect that the government is really focusing when it comes to intercepting telephones. You know, that is also connected to terror financing. But what shocks more is that to prevent these attacks, if you have to tap 10,000 phones, that means you also give an indication of how vulnerable we are as a country when it comes to terror.
Right. Also, Deepak, but there have been cases, as now you just mentioned, where politicians have said that their phones are being tapped. Amar Singh, of course, there are numerous cases, Arun Jaitley, all this showing that how these phone tappings can be actually misused. So, here we are talking about, of course, we are talking about the Home Ministry right now. So, what are the precautions that the Home Ministry takes? Because these are classified information and they are not allowed, they cannot allow anyone really to take it outside.
Well, these are two concerns that were actually expressed in the Supreme Court as well, and Supreme Court also, you know, seems to be worried about it. Concern number one is that is it the real number? Because now there's been a case in Himachal Pradesh where the new government, Veerbhadra Singh government, is alleging that the BJP government intercepted more than 1,000 telephones for their political purposes. So that's whether the sanctions that, you know, the state governments or state police organizations are getting from Home Ministry, or these the only intercepts happening, or state governments are abusing their own machinery.
Absolutely.
That's question number one. And question number two is, even if you intercept phones, how can these conversations be leaked to media, as it happened in Neera Radia case? So that's another issue of concern. So we must have some safeguards in place, and that's one reason why Supreme Court has asked the government to set up this committee which has been set up, which has reviewed these tappings.
Absolutely. So what safeguards are actually being put in place in order to ensure that this classified information doesn't go in wrong hands? Let's get a perspective. We are joined in by Mr. Sanjay Hegde, who is the advocate of the Supreme Court. We are also joined in by Mr. Bijon Mishra, the consumer activist. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us here on NewsX. Coming on to you first, Mr. Hegde. Now, this is a very complex situation that we are talking about. So, but the question is, under what situation can actually the phones be allowed to be tapped? We understand that obviously this is subject to approval of various agencies, and there are agencies that are actually mandated to do so.
No, look, the network, the legal framework for phone tapping goes back to the Indian Telegraph Act of 1885.
Okay.
We do not have any other legal framework dealing with telephones in India. So what was available to the British in 1885, we seem to have stretched it on, and as a consequence, what started off as intercepting telegraph messages has now moved on to phone tapping. In 1996, before the advent of the mobile phone era, the Supreme Court gave a judgment in the PUCL case, which provided for some safeguards. The safeguards essentially were this, that either the Home Secretary or somebody to whom he delegated powers, not below the rank of a Joint Secretary, had to authorize such tapping. Now that was when there were landlines. You had to physically put in something on somebody's instrument or at the junction box to tap a person's telephone lines.
Okay.
But now with the advent of mobile technology, with everyone having a mobile phone, and you do not need any physical interface, tapping is done technologically in a much better fashion.
Absolutely.
And consequently, with the explosion of the number of telephone lines, the number of intercept orders have also exploded, and they seem to be passed in a routine manner. Now, just one minute, if I may complete.
Yeah.
It's not only the privacy of the person whose phone has been tapped, which is being violated, but it is also the privacy of everybody else who that person talks with or mentions in conversation. Now, when Neera Radia's phones were tapped, the privacy of many prominent journalists, many prominent politicians, everything got affected.
Absolutely.
It is time now for everybody to have a relook. We need both privacy laws legislated by Parliament in this country, and we also need a better framework for the telephone industry as well as for intercepts.
Absolutely, that's a very, very valid point that you're raising, sir. Let's go across to Mr. Bijon Mishra. Sir, we'd like to know from you. Like what Mr. Hegre said at this moment. We are talking about the private lives of so many individuals. It's not just the politicians, as he just mentioned. So, at this moment, what are the options really available for anybody to go to the courts and probably challenge this? What a common man can do?
No, you see, the laws are there in terms of protecting the privacy of individuals and citizens. We have to understand that the laws have to be made more modern, more updated in terms of being able to align with the technology. And I must confess here, you see, with the use of mobile phones now, with more than 900+ million subscribers, you see, the tool has become so popular that you can intercept anybody at any point of time. It is happening. But if the government is sanctioning that you have to tap and seek certain information, there has to be some kind of a transparency. There has to be some kind of an accountability in ensuring that that information which the government is seeking for certain purpose is insulated from any kind of vested interest, which cannot be misused. And that guarantee the government has to give by a law. And if they do, and if it comes in public domain, then somebody has to be made liable, and seriously liable. And it has to be so deterrent that nobody should be able to dare, tap somebody's phone and curb on somebody's privacy. But at the same time, in the same breath, let me tell you that many a times in the last 5 years I have seen, the police has done an excellent work in tapping criminals who have committed serious crimes, in trying to locate them where they are. And that was only being possible through tapping, because we could understand the technology has helped in cracking down on those criminals. But we have to understand that this whole mechanism cannot be misused. So this 10,000 figures, we have to understand who are they. Somebody has to tell us what happened after that, if they have sanctioned it, if the Joint Secretary has sanctioned the file saying that, then are we as citizens, we come to know, if supposing tomorrow, my phone gets tapped, I must know that it got tapped, and if it got tapped, for what reason, and how it happened.
Absolutely.
And why it happened.
That is the right, this is the right, that is the crux of the situation here. We're talking about an accountability issue here. Let's also get a perspective from Mr. R.S.N. Singh, who's an intelligence expert, joining us on the phone line. How do you react, Mr. Singh, to these fresh revelations coming in? 10,000 phones and emails is what the Home Ministry is tapping in the... that is only... these are the figures that we have got only in the month of December. How would you react to this?
You see, the heart,